Okay, so this is Unit 7, Lists and Functions, and the activity is called Battleship, and we have like 18, 19 activities here. So this will be quite long, but again, I'm so sorry, but I have to jam it all into less than 15 minutes so I can upload the videos to YouTube. So I'm just gonna try and do a quick run through of each. So let's start with Welcome to Battleship. Okay, so create a variable board and an empty list. So I'm just going to open and close brackets. Next is, now we have to make a list. So we have to create a 5x5 grid, initialize to all O's, and store it in the board. So first is to use range and loop it 5 times. So for the loop in range 0 to 5, inside the loop we are going to append a list containing 5 O's to the list board. So just like above, which is this one, it has to print out 5 consecutive O's. So we have to bship, and variable bship is equals to the O, and then multiply it by 5 because we're going to loop it 5 times, and we're going to append it to the list board. So board it append to bship and then print the board. It should look like this. Okay, now we have to use the print command to display the contents of the board. Oh, I already have it. The other, okay. Now first we have to delete the existing print statement and then define the function name print underscore board with a single argument. So if we're going to reset the code, so this is the print statement, and we're going to delete that and use this, the function print underscore board with a single argument board, and we're inside the function we're going to write a for loop that will go through each row in the board, and then we're going to print the row. So call the function with board just to make sure it works. Okay. Now inside the function, the for loop, we're going to use 2 quotes as a separator to join the elements of each row, which is like this. So they won't look like they are still separated by the quotes and the commas. They have to look like they are jammed together. Now we have to define 2 new functions, random underscore row and then the random underscore call, which is for the column. And each of them will take the board as input. Now the function should return a random row index and a random column index from the board. So we're going to use randint 0 and then len bor -1. And then the same is for the column. From 0 then -1, and then we're going to wait, we don't have to print it, we just have to call them random row board and random call board. Next, create a new variable called guess underscore row and set it to integer of the row input. Guess the row. Okay, so we're going to make sure that we convert to integer the user input number for the row and the column because they have to guess. So guess row 5, guess row I guess 3, and that's it. Okay. Now we have a hidden battleship. It has random, it calls random number, row number and random column number. And now we're also asking users for their input, for their guesses, guess number of row and column. Now we have to print the value of ship underscore column and ship underscore row right here. So should we print ship column, print ship row here, line 24 and 25. So guess the row for column 3. And nope, because the random column is 4 and the random row is 0. So did I get it or not? So that's what we're going to do with the hit or miss. So on line 29, if add an if guess underscore row equals to ship row and the guess column is equals to the ship column, then it will print congratulations, you sank my battleship. Meaning if the guess row is equal to the random row number, and if the guess column number is equals to the matched the random column number, then that's it, they sank the battleship. So let's say 4 and 3. Oh, I didn't get it right because the column should be 2 and not 3. So I didn't get it right. So what will happen? If I got it wrong, we're going to have an else under the if statement that will print out you missed my battleship. And we're going to set the list element guess row in the guess column into X. Oh, so this is the part where we indicate which part of the board they had their guess. So they can see it. Okay, and we are printing it on the board. So submit, let's test. So see, this is the board, and the code should show or print X to the board, the location of our guess where the battleship is. So for example, my guess row is 1, my guess column is 3, I missed the battleship, and this is the location of that one, row 1, column 3, right there. Okay, next is, now that we can handle both the correct and incorrect guesses, we have to create more. They can enter a guess that's off the board, they can guess a spot, and they can just miss the ship. So we have to test it again. So what if the row number that they guess or the column number exceeds the number of rows and columns that we have in our board? So we're going to add an if statement that is nested under else. and say, where is it? Right here. If the guess row is equals to wait, what? I'm missing it again. Right here. If the guess row is not in range 5 and not in range, the guess column is not in range 5, it has to be, oops, that's not even in the ocean. But for this one, what I did is, if the guess row is less than 5, the guess column is less than 5, but they still didn't get it, we have to print "You missed my battleship" and print the word. And if it's not less than 5, and if their guesses didn't match the random row and column number combination, then it will print, oops, that's not even in the ocean. So guess like 1, maybe 3, and oops, I missed it again. Okay, now what if they guess a location already guessed? Okay, so we're going to add an else if right here that already has an X in it. So else if the board guess row and the guess column is already equal to X, then we're going to print "You already guessed that one. You guessed that one already." Then else they missed the battleship. Guess row 4, guess column 2. And let's, oh, we can't test it yet because we're not yet on the turns. Okay, now we're going to do a test run, but this still doesn't include the turns that I was talking about, or sinking the battleship. So here, now add a for loop that repeats the guessing and checking part of your game for 4 turns. So we have to for, the turn is in range 4. And we're going to have to print turn just to let the player know that, make sure what turn they are on. So we have to print turn, then the turn plus 1, and submit. So for example, we play Battleship, and oops, this code still prints the random guesses. Wait, this, okay. Now we have to add the if statement to check and see if the user is out of guesses. So we have to put into account the if their turn, they should only have 3 turns, and if it exceeds that, then it will be game over. So let's say add an if statement for, here. So if the turn now is equals to 3, then it should be game over. Wait, it's still printing the codes. Let's see. Oh yeah. Okay, let's see. A 1, oops, 2, and 1. Okay. Next. Now we have to add a break under the win condition. If they sank the battleship, we have to add the break right here. But I think there's something wrong with the code, because wait, I think I should just correct everything at the end. Fix it at the end once we're done with all the lectures, just to be sure, because it's printing all the turns. Oh, it's printing the random row and column that they should guess. So let's just say, and they're still asking for guess another row. So this is going on a loop. Huh. Okay. Oh, because the range is in 4. So after third turn, it still allows for 4. So I should change the range into 3, not 4. Right here. Wait, where is that? For the turn in range, we have to select it to 3. And then we should not print the ship row and the column. Oh, wait, you know what? Instead of deleting it, I'm just gonna say comment, so I can print it again and go back to it later on. And choose to do that. Let's see if it's now running as I hope. So guess row. Now it's working because it's no longer printing the row and column. Oh wow, I missed it. Let's see. Let's see, another 3 and 1. Just to get the, you guessed that one already, and game over. Nice. And that's it. I didn't get to create multiple battleships for the extra credit, so I'm ending the video now and we're moving on to the next lesson.